Welcome everyone to the Certified Weed-Free Products Program Workshop. My name is Belle Bergner. I'm the Executive Director of NAISMA, and I'm going to kick things off, introduce who NAISMA is, what we do, and just a brief overview of the Weed-Free Products Program, and then our staff, committee chairs, and committee participants and trainers. All right, who we are. For those who don't know, the North American Invasive Species Management Association is a 27-year-old organization. Its mission is to support, promote, and empower invasive species prevention and management in North America. Our vision is that all of North America's lands and waters are protected from invasive species. It's a tall order, but with your help, we can do it. In 2012, the organization changed its name from NAMA, the North American Weed Management Association, to NAISMA to include all taxa. So over the period of years since then, we've gradually incorporated more programs and trainings and information for our stakeholders about all invasive species. And I've been with the organization since 2016, so I guess I can't call myself a newbie anymore. What we do, we have grown over the years because of our members and committees and volunteer involvement. And so just briefly, a top-level overview of the programs and things that we do. We promote international standards. These weed-free product standards are one of those. We support the regulation and certification of weed-free products. We have education and advocacy that we do through professional development and outreach, webinars. National Invasive Species Awareness Week is something that it used to be called Weed Awareness Week, but as with the transition, not just the organization's name, but inclusively as a community, invasive species managers recognize that we've got to really include all invasive species in this issue when we're talking about it. National Invasive Species Awareness Week is a great effort. Get involved if you're not already. Play Clean Go is the outreach and awareness and education program targeted at recreationists. Check that out on our website. And professional development, including certification programs and monthly webinars. And our annual conference, the Weed-Free Products Program, started in 1993 with forage standards. It was organized by a grassroots group of Western County land managers who came together and recognized that the only way this is going to work and be successful is that everybody talks to each other and make sure that everyone's monitoring for the same species and following the same protocols. The goal is to ensure that the same noxious weeds are being controlled and not transported across jurisdictions. In 2006, gravel standards were added, and this year, just this year, mulch standards were added. So we're going to cover all of those in this workshop. Next slide. So the Weed-Free Products Program is a cooperative program that sets standards for inspection and certification of forage, gravel, and mulch producers. It provides a unified system of certificate training and standards for field inspection across jurisdictional boundaries. These are, as far as we know, the only international standards program for these specific pathways, and it is voluntary. It relies on cooperation and agreement between all the MOU holders and participants to uphold these standards across jurisdictions. And I think that's where I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth.
So the certification program begins with a memorandum of understanding between NAISMA and the designated authority. And we'll talk a little bit about who can be the designated authority, and you'll hear more about that from Marcia, Andrea, and Julie later. The memorandum of understanding is a very short document. It's 2 pages, and it basically is the commitment to follow these minimum certification standards and also to participate in, at some level, in our committee and our discussion. Then once that MOU is signed, we have an inspector certification training that NAISMA provides so that all the inspectors are trained with the same foundation. And then you're going to learn how to actually do the inspections and issue the certificate of inspection and what that looks like. And potentially a transit certificate as well, following those product minimum standards. So the designated authorities, typically a state agency, often the Department of Agriculture, It has to be someone or an agency or organization that has legal authority to manage noxious weeds or invasive plants. And often that is the State Department of Agriculture. It can also now be a federal agency. That's a new change just earlier this year. And again, you're going to hear more about that later on. Often county weed management staff, this program was really started by, as Belle said, county weed managers and local land managers, often crop improvement associations, soil and water conservation districts, university extension agents were willing to work with those that have this legal authority to do this kind of work. And there are often, as we're expanding further east and into different parts of the country, we're learning that there are other governments and we can evaluate those as opportunities arise. So here's a copy of the MOU, and soon there'll be a checkbox on top for weed-free mulch. But again, it's a very short document that really lines out the relationship between NAISMA and the designated authority, as well as the responsibilities. There are 55 prohibited noxious weeds on the NAISMA species list. You're going to get really fantastic in-depth training on how to identify these weeds from Julie Kraft later. There is a process by which an MOU holder can petition NAISMA to add prohibited weeds to this list, and that process would begin with the committee and then be moved to through the MOU holders and the board of directors. And I do want to make the point that MOU holders are able to be stricter. So if you have a weed that is of high importance at the county level and you're implementing that program, you can add your high priority weed to this list, or at the state level, or what have you. So you can add to this list, but this is the minimum standard. The inspector certificate training typically happens live at the annual conference, and we have an online program, so you can get trained online at any time at your convenience. There are also often NAISMA approved state, provincial, or local classes, so MOU holders can teach this course locally to their staff. But the important thing is that those inspectors, anybody who's getting certified, must be associated with an existing MOU. So there needs to be an MOU in place in order for that inspector to be eligible for the NAISMA certification training. Okay, program fees. There is an annual MOU holders fee, $100, and a 3-year certificate fee. So when you go into the certificate class, you pay a $30 fee, and your certificate is good for 3 years. That helps NAISMA just to provide some minimal support for program administration, for the online training program, and communications and other program functions. This is the map, and thanks to Mark Delusion, Wyoming, for making this map for us. This is the list of the current MOU holders, so you can see Alaska and from the Pacific coast to the East Coast. The blue states are county programs versus statewide programs in green. It's my mission to turn this whole map green, so I'm looking forward to working with many of you that are not current MOU holders. And if you think that your state or your province should be colored in on this map and it's not, reach out to me and we can chat. There's a couple of reasons why that might be. The MOUs were updated a couple of years ago, and so it may just be that we need to update your MOU. It could be for a couple of other reasons as well. So reach out to me and let me know, and we'll get that taken care of. And chances are I've already reached out to you if you're one of the states that aren't colored in, or provinces, and if I haven't, then I will be. Okay, so that concludes our kind of introductory presentation. Again, our mission here at NAISMA is to support, promote, and empower invasive species prevention and management in North America. We are here to serve you and support you, and so please let us know how we can do that.